Hello, in this episode I want to talk about BLL autocomplete function so you can make your own autocomplete. First, I like to explain what autocomplete is. So I go and I start writing a R, and then I get all the autocomplete R word that the editor is suggested for me at the moment. If I choose the radio button and press parenthesis start and a quote, then I can see all the sub attribute that I can use with a radio button. If I press R again and choose radio box and press parenthesis quote, then I can see all the sub attribute I can use to a radio box. And I can even use it for the object control, that is the God function in BLL. And here we can see all the function that you can use to all function. All this green function is controlled by this object control. And when you press escape, then the autocomplete is going to continue where you last be. If you press escape again, you're going to toggle it back and forth. And I can even go here and press escape, and then I can press parenthesis quote, and then I can choose alternative with pressing enter. And if we go to the config file by pressing Ctrl Alt B and go down to sub attributes, we can see here is the information that is going to be read when the editor starts. So he's going to read all this information when the editor is started, and this one is going to set if this autocomplete index is going to be update for every key press. So if I'm going to blah 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 here with my keys, every time I do this, he's going to scan the whole document. He's going to read all the variables, all the function, all the index, and update. So we can see if we make an index and we press something here, we can see in real time he is updating the index, and it is the same with the function list, and he going to index all the function and variables you have in your program. And we can even see, if we go back to our program, if we make a variable, it's like a s is equal to 8, and then if I press S, and here is our variable, and I made the autocomplete. I'm used to another autocomplete for the editor that I'm used to working in, and they autocomplete with space, but I getting used to that, so that's why I press space. But here nothing is happened because I don't really like it, because if I write a normal text blah 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 and press space, if you have this list down and press space when you blah blah blah, it's going to choose from the autocomplete, and you continue writing, and then when you look at the screen, you're going to see, oh, he actually get a word when I press space while I used writing some normal text, and I didn't really want to do that. So the only thing that is going to interrupt from a normal key is the enter. So if I go and it's like press enter, it's going to choose from the autocomplete list. If you are inside this list box, if you want to now make a return, you need to press escape and make a return to not choose from the list. Okay, back to this auto update. This is turned on, so it's going to update this list for every key press. If you have a code that is tens of thousands of line of code, you maybe your editor is going to be sluggish because it's too much text to index for every key press. So then you can turn this to 0, and then you need to save the document, and then you need to restart the editor to make this to be applied. So all this this sub function is only read once when the editor is start up. So if you make change in this information, you need to save and restart the editor. And because our files so far in BLL, they are indeed very small, so we can have auto update to 1 on for every key press at the moment. It's even for a tablet with a Atom processor, you can quite have a big I never reach a limit where the editor start getting sluggish, but you have the option to turn it off. And if we continue talk about using this autocomplete, we see here the BLL lecture is having this autocomplete on. And if we go down to the text, we don't have that information. So if I go to F1 to the help file, and we can press R, nothing has happened. We can press M, nothing has happened, because we need to start this autocomplete for the lecture before it's going to activate the autocomplete. So if I copy this only and go down to the text, and I insert it here, and I can change this autocomplete word to text, so we see that we are the one that making the autocomplete word. And even if I'm the one that make this, I'm not sure if I save this, and if I go back to our text document by F1 and press text T, it didn't activate for the text. So I need to restart the editor, and now if I press T, I have the autocomplete for the text document. And here we can we can see our text extra, and if I press a quote here, we can see that we have our own sub attributes that we can put to our own function that we have. So if we go back and see in sub attribute, we have a function that is called, this is the lecture, the extension of the file, and this is the function, and here is the 3 word that we put. So we can have if we put this new word and save it, we can go back and see if it have noise. We need to quit and restart, and we go parenthesis start quote, and then we have toodaloo. And if we go back, we have here, we can add more word. If we have another command 2, we can add that to our text document. We can make this a save, and then we go out and we restart the editor, and then I create a new text document, and we have a command 2 even, and we see here when we press the quote, we don't have any suggestion, because if we go to the sub attributes, we need to put this command. Sorry, I am little slow. Sub attribute, we need to add this command and equal, and then the text alt 1, alt 2, alt 3, and save, quit, and then we start a new text document and command 2, and then we have our new alternative that we could use. That is how you create your own word and sub attributes for different file extension. You can also, if we see, we can go to the ini file, we can see that we don't have this 2 lines of code. This first line of code means that this is what character shall the autocomplete list show for the user. So if I put 3, it's going to show on the 3rd letter. So if we go here, command, sorry, I get confused, 3rd letter, you see, nothing happened when I write the first. If you don't want this autocomplete to show up, you can still you can change when you want it to be shown, and it is the same here. And the third one, 1, 2, 3, is going to show the alternative. So that is what autocomplete N are. You see here, if you put it 0 or this line is not presented, it's going to be equal 0. And if you want it on with the first character you write, you put it like this and save. If we go up to sub attribute, we can have as we see in the ini file, we don't have the auto function. So if I press R or command or M, nothing happened, because we need to put this in the ini file if we want autocomplete to work in the ini file. Here we can see I have word that is always, so it doesn't matter which lecture extension, that what kind of document I'm writing in, I have always these words. This is word that is separated with a space, and this is a separator that you can have word with space. So I can demonstrate it if I go back to here and I press I, and this is still in 3 letters. So if I go back to our main program and I press I, and then if I can't press space because I don't like to interrupt, I need in this case press enter and space, and then my and J on. So this is an example how you can put together an autocomplete list for making your writing for word or sentence that you write over and over, so you be more effective. So, and here the difference between this function is that they can have sub attributes. So this function is for all the extension that you can use. You can use it in a text document, you can use it in every, and then it's the same that you put the function and then the sub attribute, the name. If you want to have it specific to a text file, you need to write it like this, text, and separate it with a dot, and then it's like the function name you want to have it. So this is, I've been playing around when I make it, that this is how I want to set it up. And okay, before I stop, we can see here, this is for the BLL, this is the function, and we can see that it doesn't read this command. So question is, where does it get that information? And then if we go to the BLL lecture, we can see that we have this lecture word that is presented like this, and even all the lecture doesn't support lecture word up to word 8, but you can still use them to add function to your extension. So here is the function, and when it's going to be more implemented word function to the BLL, it's going to be that it's add word here, and then if they have sub attribute, I'm going to the function and I'm going to checkbox, and then I'm going to add a new sub attribute that function have. So here you can see all the sub attributes they have, and if you go to the help, you can see, if we go to the list box, we can see that here is this is the function, this is a sub attribute, and we can see all this is, when you press this, you're going to get all these attributes, sub attributes presented for you. Thank you for watching. I hope this can be useful for non-BLL project that you can use, and you can use the editor for other thing than just writing Windows application. You can even use it for indexing. You can see this. You can see that I have this index, and I can walk in this index. I can select index. I can go. If I press F1 here, I can just go to this function from the code, and that is little how you can use your use this editor to other than to write Windows application with BLL. Thank you again, and see you next time.